Hey, Caleb, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing well. Thanks for asking. One more game this season, get a chance to play on a big stage against, a pretty prestigious program in Miami. What kind of has you looking forward to the Sun Bowl? What's kind of the practice scene been like and, the preparation?
Practices felt pretty normal. Our scout guys and our younger guys have gotten a lot more reps through this practice. I'd say that's the only big difference. But as far as preparing for the bowl game, it's always exciting. I mean, it's what you work for through the year to be able to play a postseason game and to be able to play Miami, a school like that, to be on national television. And honestly, for me, going back home to Texas, like that's a big deal. Get to have a lot of family come out, so it's exciting.
Well, yeah, you're gonna have a lot of family and friends and all that at the game.
Yeah. I have some uncles. Literally, I have family members from both sides coming, so it's going to be exciting.
Awesome. Have you had a chance to talk to a little bit to Coach Ward so far?
No, not yet.
Have you?
I've had a couple conversations with him. He's a very well-spoken person. Doesn't say a whole lot, but when he does, his words mean something. So that's the biggest thing that I've got from him so far.
What kind of excites you about playing under him next season?
I think the biggest thing is that our system doesn't change. Our whole terminology doesn't change. All of our coverages are the same. So he comes in and already understands our defense. So we really don't have to make a lot of changes. So for our defense, we get to take a lot of steps forward instead of having someone come in where they bring in a new system and then we're kind of starting from scratch. With him, Coach Ward coming in, we still get to build on what we had this year.
And then just kind of doing a story on, a year-end story on, some of the top performers this year. And one of the things we're doing is offensive MVP, defensive MVP, and rookie of the year. Who kind of gets your votes for those awards?
Offensive MVP and defensive MVP, that's tough. I'd say on offense, probably Jaden. And just because, I mean, obviously when you're a quarterback, you have the most influence, of anyone on the field. And so with him, I mean, when he's in the game and he's on, I mean, this team just plays different. The energy's different. So even though sometimes he might not be making the biggest plays, just him on the field and knowing what he can do and how he can operate an offense, I'd say I'd give the MVP to him. And then defense, we had a lot of guys step up. Oh, man, that's tough. I'd probably say I'm going to go with Ron Stone, mainly because it's not just his statistics, but, I mean, he's one of our leaders, one of our guys that brings energy every day. He's always walking around smiling, having a good time. So, I mean, he really sets the tone for us on defense, but also just what he did from last year to this year, the improvement that he made, getting the first team all conference bid. I mean, that was pretty big.
And then rookie of the year?
I'm gonna go with Strib. I love Strib, man. He to come in as a freshman and make some of the plays that he made on the outside against some of the guys that he made is pretty impressive, and he's only going to get better.
Thanks, Caleb. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Next couple are going to be Colton Clark, spokesman review. Go ahead, Colton.
Hey, Caleb, how you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How about yourself?
Very good. Thank you very much. Obviously, you transferred in having experience at a similar level, but what were kind of the adjustments you had to make in this conference and within this team to carve out a role for yourself?
That's a good question. I think it's a very loaded question because there's a lot of different things that go into it. But I'd say transferring in, everything restarts. So everything I did in my old school, I mean, it counts for me, but it doesn't count here. So you start over with your relationships, proving yourself, gaining the respect of people in the locker room as far as the coaches. So I'd say that would be the biggest adjustment for me. But honestly, as far as conferences, there's really not a big difference in FBS, like Group of Five versus Power Five. The biggest difference you see is with the lines, but besides that, it's really the same. There's a lot of skill players down in those Group of Five schools that don't get a lot of credit that I think can do some of the same things that we see guys at Power Five do. So I would say it really hasn't been that big of an adjustment. Just the biggest adjustment's been more with the team, not really with the football field.
I'm wondering why you selected Wazoo as kind of your destination in the first place. And then obviously you have eligibility remaining, but why was it that you decided to come back next season and how much of a decision was it for you there?
I picked Wazoo because it ended up being the best spot for me. I was in an interesting situation with my progress towards degree. So Washington State gave me the best opportunity to stay eligible and also play at the highest level. So that's why I chose Wazoo. But as far as that's really, the only reason I had committed to UCLA. I decommitted. And then after that, got in touch with the coaching staff here. And, I think towards the end of May, they let me know that they had a spot. And then it was kind of wraps from there. I figured it out. I was here in about a week. So it was a pretty short turnaround.
And what is it that you maybe respect about Coach Dickard, or maybe something you learned from him this year and how he kind of conducted himself throughout this kind of strange year?
Every time I see Coach Dickard, I just think, regardless of what's going good, what's going bad, just being able to work through all of that. I think with him, if there's a good day, if it's a bad day, he's just going to work. He's just going to work, and he's going to come back to work, and he's going to outwork everybody. Like, that's literally what I get from him. He's just a grinder. Everything about him is just literally outworking everybody and doing things the right way and understanding the day in and day out process. So that's the biggest thing I learned from him, is he's really straightforward, has a strong mindset, and knows how to focus on today and get the most out of
it. And last thing for you, this seems maybe not the easiest question, but how would you maybe explain your role this season, and what abilities do you think you kind of contribute to the Cougars secondary?
Well, for me, honestly, I don't like talking about myself when it comes to football, but I think the biggest role that I had was special teams, and then just making sure that when my time was come to play on defense, making sure I'm prepared for it, making sure that there's no slack from J. Watt to D. Lang to Shaw to me, making sure that I'm doing my job, and then everything will work out from there. Honestly, I don't know my role. I'm still working, and I still have to work to get my role. I know what I want, and I know what I want to be, but that comes in with working every day and making sure I'm doing all that I can to make sure that happens.